This is Kevin Larson, one of our members. He's going to do a winged bowl. He's going to teach you how to do that. That's pretty cool, I think. So I'll turn it over to you.
All right.
Have fun.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dang. Yeah. So, he talked to me a couple months ago and said, "Hey, you want to do another demo?" I'm like, "Dang, it's been 2 years. I thought maybe my first one was so bad that he wasn't going to ask me again." But so anyway, he says, "Turn one of these things." I'm like, "All right." So I turned about 20 of them, and then I called him. I said, "Yeah, I'll do one. I think I got it figured out." So hopefully it works out. But this is what it's going to be. It's going to be offset, just about 3/4 of an inch off center is where I'm going to start. And then what that does is it gives you it rests on the center of the bowl and the outside wing, and it leaves one wing up. So that's the plan. What's that? Sure can. Yep, this one's made out of sycamore, and it was like soaking wet last week when I turned it. This is pecan. It has been down for probably about 3 or 4 years. Cherry top and sycamore top. The sycamore top on this one is actually pretty dry when I did it. So yeah, so I'm going to start this with a blank that's about 8 1/4 long, 3 1/4 wide, I think. 2 inches deep. I think that's right. 8 1/4, 2 inches deep, 3 1/4. Yep. And it's a pretty good blank to start off with to do a wing bowl because it's small. It's not going to be too difficult to do. It works all right. So it's a chick. And I'm just going to, what I'll do is measure find the center long ways, which is, I said, it's 8 1/4. So 4 1/8 is the center. And I'm going to move it one side about 3/4 of an inch, say right there. Which all the offset is all up to you. You can make it however you offset you want. Just remember, the further offset you are, the more out of balance it'll be when you start. So and I use a circle to help me find the where I want to put drill the hole. And the reason I use the circle is because if I just use measuring stuff like that, it seems like I'm always off. And then when you're finished, one side's further away from the bowl than the other side. So the circle kind of helps me gauge. So you can see that if you lay it on there, it's like even on both sides. Mark your spot where you drill your hole, and you get a hole in it like so. Because I'm going to start off on a worm screw, and this is pecan. This was cut down out of my yard. I mean, it's got to been at least 3 years ago or something like that, and it's been laying back there. And I was surprised that when I pulled the log out, it wasn't all punky, and I was able to make a bunch of blanks out of the one log. So, one other thing, real quick, the pith in this log was right here. So I chose I'm going to make the top decide with the pith because it's going to be turned down. So a lot of that pith will be gone. There might be some at the very top in this area right here where there's still a little pith, but it should be all right. But made me some notes this time so I don't forget to tell you anything. The tools I'm going to use for this is, of course, it's the NEFWTA here with the 50 millimeter jaws. Got the worm screw on. And after this, I'm going to put a tenon on this side. And after that, I'll take the screw out. And then the rest will be just done with the 50 millimeter jaws. I'll use a 5/8" bowl gouge with a 40-degree grind on here to help do the outside of it. The inside, I'll use a smaller one, and it's got like a 60-degree bevel on it with a relief grind on it too to help me get inside here. I use a spindle gouge, or half-inch spindle gouge when I'm working on the lid. I might use a scraper to get it inside the bowl if I didn't do a very good job with the first tool. And I'll probably use a part tool to help clean up some stuff. And all right, so like I said, I'm gonna start with it on the wormwood screw. I'm gonna start with this gouge here, and I'm going to put the tenon on this side. Is that too much light on it? How's that look? Good? It'll be off balance there for a while. So just kind of speed it up a little bit as you go to see how fast you can do it. One thing to remember is here's your rest, don't put nothing on this side of your rest that has blood in it. Because if that hits your finger or something like that, it's going to hurt. So everything stays on this side. These first few passes, I'm just kind of getting the feel of it, kind of feel where the bevel's at, how it's working, and just trying to get into some rhythm, basically. And just work it all the way out to the end, and you won't be cutting very much out the end, so it'll just be tick tick tick. I'm going to put a tin in here on this side, so I'm just going to mark it though. Put some mark. All right, so all right, that's pretty good. Make it a little deeper. One thing to note is is I try not to, I can't hardly see with these things. Is I keep everything anchored. I keep this thing close to my body, I keep it here, and then I just basically move my body. If I start using my arms, I'll get all kinds of tool marks and everything on there, and it'd be hard to sand out. So just keep everything anchored up and move back and forth, and you should be pretty good. And just go all the way out to that last little turn. Keeps falling down. That's the last of that we'll shoot. See? All right, thank you. One thing I like to do too is just take a marker and kind of put a line on here about what kind of something, just to give you an idea of the profile. And this does kind of two things. Hopefully you'll be able to see it on the camera. But when it's spinning from the top view, can you see the top view? Can you see that line on there? Okay. So that kind of helps you with your, it guides you along. All right, now I'm going to start working on the profile here. Get it going as fast as you can without any vibrations. Can't see. You can do pole cuts like to get it done, but my favorite way to do it is come around on the side like this. The only problem with that is you don't have as much foundation to do it, but Yeah, so you can see how it's coming along. The little bowl part will be, we'll move it about right. Somewhere right in that area right there. And I want to, if you noticed on the things, there's a little, I put just a little lip right there, little step or whatever you want to call it. Try to get my little profile just about right. You don't want to make it flat on the top. Here's one that didn't turn out very good. This one, more on this side. You talking about this light here? I'm not sure where. How about? Yeah. How about if we put this one kind of like that? All right. Yeah. Let's try that. Yeah. This one here, you see it's just flat. It was flat and then it broke down too hard and it wasn't a good shape. So that's where I'm trying to help eliminate that. Plus, when I do that, then I get really bad right here. It gets, for some reason, when it's like that, I always end up real thin at the top. Is that better? Trying to get this little ridge out right there. It's pretty close. looks good. Now I'll go to do some shear scraping on there to get rid of some of them ridges. That looks pretty good there. Just keep a real low handle and make some light passes. Just be real careful when you're doing that, because you really can't see the wood a whole lot. You just barely see it when you're in there. So just ease it in there and do nice, real easy light cuts. Got one ridge right there. It's still there. I can work on that for a while and I'd get it out eventually, but in the name of time, I'm going to move on. It sands out pretty good too, so. Now I'm going to start working on the inside here. Some pretty hard wood. I'm going to go ahead and put a little step in here. My goal is to make a recess so when I swap it around, that it'll fit on that. And you want to put it deep enough to where when the jaws are inside there, they're not pushing on just this little piece. they're, that they're not just pushing on the little out pieces. You got to be pushing on the main chunk so it doesn't bust it out. You see it all right? Can you see everything? Kind of give you an idea how deep you're going. Keep track of that. Yeah, got plenty more. Could probably go just a touch more. I have to switch to a smaller one because this one gets too big for that bottom part there. So, but it's still that like 60, maybe even 70 degrees with a big relief cut there. Well, yeah, it's about, you see about how deep that is right there? That's probably pretty good. All right. And at this point, you can sand on this stuff here on the side and then inside there, clean that all up. Always that last little turn, you're afraid it's going to split it out. Yeah, one more. All right, so working on this side, you got to work it from two different angles. One coming this way when you're working this end, and the bowl you'd be coming in from this angle. So you'd be going here and here, and I just kind of work my way a little bit back and forth. So switch side. So my goal is to get it the thickness you want to start with, and then try to maintain that the rest of the way. Yeah. I had a big problem when I first started doing it. I would be good till about right here, and then I would fail to make this turn. So then I would keep going up in there, and it would get real thin there every time. I think I got that problem solved. I've never, I'm a pretty much an amateur wood turning, and the only training I ever got was from Rudy Lopez. Because when I won the scholarship thing and went up to Aeromont, he taught this technique that when you're turning wings like this and something thin, is get your bevel up, lined up where you want, and just drag it on the back and forth, not cutting anything. And then when you come back, then you'll hear it come off to what that, and then you just ease in there, and you just take real light cuts, but just get that feel back and forth. And I ain't mastered it yet, but it works pretty good. But to do it right. And if you want to try to trim off any tool marks, do it now before you lose all your support. And just be real, keep it low, keep your flute closed. And if you get a catch, it won't hurt too bad as long as you keep it real closed. Seen something go flying off. That's okay. Yep, 1,055. Yeah. I always hate it when I get in this dilemma because that last cut was a really good cut, but the first one I did wasn't very good at all. And if you go back and try to fix this, you're not going to do it very good. So just put that down. It's going to be sanded out because that one there was a good one. That one wasn't so good. And I find these sand out pretty good, so it's not like you're too hard. You don't have to do the dragging the bevel back every time, but it's good to practice because where it really is beneficial is on that last cut. And so, but I do it every time just to keep in practice. Helps me get it. Feels like I'm going too straight. It's just getting too thick, but it's okay. Not too bad. Am I blocking it or anything? I like to change my gouge to that 40-degree gouge when it gets closer to there to finishing out the bottom. This wood got really hard really fast. I almost brought a piece of sycamore that was really wet, but I figured it'd mess up stuff because I didn't give everybody a shower. All right. Okay. That's that. Yeah. Okay. While he's adjusting that, I'm looking at where the jaws go in here to how far this is out, kind of give you an idea how much you have to work with. And I still got just a little bit. You can take it off here. Since you put this lip on the inside there, you can take it off here and feel how thick it is and how much. Like the side's pretty good, and I got the bottom's pretty good. This part here is not so good. It's really thick there, so when you remount it, you should still run pretty true. Just don't want to take much more off of there. There, I just want to round it, make it a nice round bottom. What's that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it still runs pretty true. I'm gonna tell you what, either that's really dull or that wood's really hard. Don't be afraid to keep checking. Yeah, that bottom's about as far as you want to go. Wish I had a little more meat on there because it's kind of roughed up. But you can sand this part while it's on the lathe, but you don't want to do that one for sure. It don't look too bad. The bottom's not very good, but it'll take some sanding to fix it. But shape's not too bad. A little uneven, but anyway, that would be that part. It is. It's 2 points here and here. And one other thing, real quick, to note is if you keep coming down on this side, it'll be, if you keep coming down all the way, you'll have a round end like that. Oh, yep. If you, when you're making your cut around, it'll be round if you can come all the way down past the flat. If you stop before the flat, it'll end up just be square like this. So it's personal. Yeah, it just, I usually like to quit when the cut looks good. If it's not so good, I'll keep going and it'll be a round bottom. Yeah. Yeah. But you can see this one here didn't work out too good. That was, it was nice and round and cool, and I'm like, that's looking good. And the more you do, the more confidence you have. This will set you back, or put you back into reality anyway. The lid. Let's do a lid now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's this face grain. That's the end grain there. And it's that way because that's all I had. This is cherry. I'm just going to round it off. can't see. What do I do with my piece? This first little cut, I'm just going to cut it down to fit inside the rim. It's pretty close. Good thing I stopped. The next cut, I'm going to try to make it match the outside of the lip, right here. The first one was down inside, the second one I went. That's pretty good too. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. Guess don't want to get too aggressive. Right. Does it still fit? Close enough. It's not tight, but For some reason, I always have to look on here to make sure I'm hitting the right mark. Almost forgot something. I want to put a same step on the inside of this that I did on the other one, on the inside. And again, you want to make it deep enough to where it's deeper than that lip. You want to get it down to where it's gripping on that. There we go. And I like to whittle as much stuff off of here as I can before I turn it around, because generally this is a better grip than this, but I'm not so sure about this one. Don't throw one. It'd be nice to have a sharpener, because that wood, pecan wood, made this thing dull, but it's still working. Not very good on that side though. What time we got? We good still? Anyway, then you can start sanding. Let's see how it looks. That was some hard wood for some reason, man. It wasn't that hard in my shop. They made that. They made my one tool so dull it wouldn't do nothing. But it's easy to sand. For some, when the grain's this way, it doesn't take much to sand out your tool marks. You can shape it. I like to round over the edges a lot. You know, you can hide the fact that this is thicker than this just by rounding over the edges, because when you look at it, the sanding looks good. And so unless you're running your fingers this way, you don't know it's not even. And so people like my wife, she has no idea that it's not quite right. But anyway, that was kind of a rough cut. It requires some sanding and stuff, but I hope you learned something. But sign up for a demo, and you'll teach yourself something.